Want to study fashion? Get ready. It's time to start your fashion journey with Fedisa. Sure, we do fashion design, but not only that, study everything and anything in fashion. You want to style? Be a buyer? Do you like design? And I know you love trends. A BA in fashion? We got it. Diploma in fashion retail? Oh yes. Did I mention honors? Want to apply? Of course you do. Go to fedisa.co.za and start your fashion journey now.
Good evening, everybody. I think it's just gone 6 p.m. And if there's one thing about Fedesa that you will all get to know very quickly, it is that Fedesa is a very, very punctual institution. So without any further ado, I'm going to start off this evening's presentation. By the way, I should probably tell you who I am, the old bearded gray man of Fedesa. My name is Alan LaRue. I am the CEO of Fedesa and also the founder 17 years ago when I was much younger and probably not nearly as enthusiastic as I am today. So Fedesa obviously has been created to be a wonderful institution for our future fashionistas to find their footing and their entry into the fashion environment, the fashion economy. And I don't only mean South Africa, but South Africa and international. And you will, if you follow Fedesa, find that many of our graduates today are actually working internationally as well as within the local fashion industry. So I'm going to kick off this evening by just playing you a short video. It's about 4 minutes long, just to situate you so that you get a sense of the Fedesa campuses, what our facilities look like, what you can expect to experience when you are studying at Fedesa. So I don't do this every day. Bear with me while I share my screen and see if I can make all of this happen on your screens around the country and around the world as well. All right, so screen share. Here we go. Now, don't worry that there is no sound. I've specifically taken the sound off so that I can tell you what you are seeing. We are currently looking at the Cape Town campus. The Cape Town Fedesa campus is situated in the heart of the CBD. We've got wonderful views from our events deck down to the bay, which of course makes it an ideal spot for students who would like to hang around in the CBD and experience all the wonderful cultural and design opportunities and coffee shops and student life around the campus. Fedesa is very much a state-of-the-art campus. Large spaces, very airy studios. As you can see there, the technology labs where a lot of the BA students in particular will work on their creations. We have a wonderful computer lab. And this, of course, everything I'm telling you is really true for both the campuses, but the Cape Town campus being the original Fedesa campus, it has that very nice outdoor feel, the beautiful event deck where we host many of our events and where students hang out between classes. And this is what you're experiencing here. So high above the street, this grassed area you're seeing is 3 stories above the city streets. Later on, I'll be talking about something called a fashion flash, and that was an example there that you could see of people gathered at Fedesa for a fashion flash. Our theory components, we lecture in this beautiful auditorium with full surround sound. You're going to see that there is quite a bit of a difference between the Cape Town and the Sandton campuses when it comes to the auditorium. I'll explain why later. Of course, you need the ability to photograph your work, whatever creative work you have. And we have a beautiful photographic studio on this campus as well, with access to a professional photographer where students can have their work photographed for their final portfolios. Also, you will find that Fedesa works very closely with industry. And we are so fortunate that the Foschini Group, TFG, recently installed a brand new technology lab for our first year students to use on campus. And there you can see state-of-the-art, every machine that is required for you to be able to create your beautiful garments. There is a research library, which also obviously houses several research computers, and all of that assists in your program. At the beginning of 2020, we opened the second Fedesa campus due to the demand, and we did it right in the heart of Sandton, Those of you who know Sandton very well will know that the Fedisa campus is situated directly behind the Cecil building and Discovery on Viada Road West. So if you're passing by, it's very, very hard to miss the Fedisa campus with that beautiful Izumiyaki inspired window display. This campus, again, totally state of the art. Most of our teaching is done on large digital screens here. We believe very strongly that one has to surround a creative environment with beautiful creative spaces, because all of that obviously nurtures the creative energy and ensures that our students always have the ability to see the beauty of the world around them and have everything at their fingertips to access. In Sandton, Cape Union Mart has sponsored the technology lab there, as you can see on your screen right now. Again, all the latest state-of-the-art equipment, very, very comparable to the Cape Town campus, because we want to ensure that it doesn't matter on which campus a student studies at Fedisa, they will have access to only the best in terms of technology and computers. Now, some of you may be wondering about this beautiful space in the center of the school. This is the double volume atrium in Sandton. And throughout Fedisa, there is always a display of student work. So no matter what, when you visit, there will always be visuals of student work that you can see what is happening. This is our beautiful library in Sandton. You can see it sits at the bottom of that atrium. And again, there are research computers and everything that you will need. The consultation pods are private spaces for students to gather in. And here is our multifunctional auditorium in Sandton. So we've created it in this way so that we can use that auditorium space for many other permutations rather than the one that we have in Cape Town that is static. So I think that situates you very nicely in terms of what the Fedisa campuses look like. I'm now going to move across into my presentation. So again, bear with while I just line up the presentation for this evening. All right, so welcome to Fedisa's virtual open day. It's amazing how with this pandemic, we have been able to find these wonderful ways to continue doing what we do and what we enjoy doing, because we are not going to simply capitulate. That's not the Fedisa way. Right, so let's see what Fedisa does. So Fedisa is a private institution of higher education. You will know by now that we are a fully registered and accredited institution. And Fedisa was developed to specifically serve the fashion industry. So Fedisa is purely focused on fashion in various shapes and forms. So Fedisa currently has 3 qualifications that we present, all of them, as I've said, registered and accredited, all of them internationally recognized. And let's begin now with the diploma. So it's a 3-year diploma in fashion merchandising, marketing, and media. And this specifically is designed for the traders. And that's people who want to work in the fashion space, but they don't necessarily want to design garments and make garments and create product. They simply want to retail and sell and work with product. And you'll see in a moment how interesting that space can be. The next qualification at Fedisa is the 3-year BA fashion degree. This is an NQF level 7 program. And we call the fashion degree for the creatives, because this is where you are physically going to be conceptualizing new product offerings. You are going to develop those. You're going to be designing them. You're going to be creating them. So, and this is why we speak about, this is the degree for the creatives, people who want to make new things. And then we have a postgraduate 1-year degree called the BA Honors in Fashion degree. And my lovely colleague, Miss Margaret Allwatch, will speak to that a little bit later on. And the BA Honors degree is for the managers. Those are for people who want to strategically look at the fashion environment, how we work within it, how we improve it. And as I said, Margaret will speak a little to that and the very many exciting dissertations that we've seen coming out of the honors degree over the last several years. All right, so moving on. Choose your qualification. Right, so as I've said, there are 3, so you can decide whether you are going to initially be a trader or a creative, because keep in mind, you can only join the managers, the postgraduate honors, once you have completed your BA degree. All right. So let's speak a little bit about the diploma in fashion merchandising, marketing, and media. As with the BA degree, you will find that the diploma also consists of 4 integrated courses. And when I speak about integrated courses, it's very important to understand this concept. Integrated courses means that they all speak to one another. None of them are in isolation from the other. They all speak to one another, and this is why they are integrated. So you will need information and assignments from one of the subjects within a course to speak to other subjects within some of the other courses. And you'll see how that works as we go along. So fashion theory. What is fashion theory? If you're going to work in the fashion environment, it's very important for you to understand a number of theoretical concepts that will underpin your studies and your future career. First of all, fashion history, and you'll find that some of these subjects will be common to various of the qualifications at Fedisa, and that is again because fashion is such an integrated business. So fashion history allows us to understand and to research where we've been, what's been done before, where we've come from, what worked well, what didn't. That, of course, will put us in a position where we are with a number of other tools, able to start forecasting what fashion could potentially look like. So that is a vital characteristic or skill for us to master in the new fashion environment, in the fashion industry or the fashion world, because it is very important for us to know what is next. And of course, in order for us to know what is next, we also need to be able to tap in to the social psychology of the world around us, because that is going to further enhance our understanding of where fashion has been, what happened to it, what has created the evolutions of fashion, and that assists us in being able to forecast and predict what the next trends or the next big thing is going to be. And of course, joined with all of this is your ability to communicate. So people often find it strange that we have a subject called communication within the fashion program. It's very important that we fully understand how we will communicate about our ideas, about our concepts and our perceptions, because if you are not able to communicate very well, you may very quickly find that somebody else communicates on your behalf, and they may not be communicating the message that you actually intended to share. The next course we will look at is going to be merchandising. And in merchandising, you will find quite a number of the elements that we take for granted when we move through a store, through a shopping mall. We don't even realize how much planning and evolution sits within that retail space. So I know many of you have this interest in fashion buying, and I want to again hasten to say that fashion buying is not shopping. It is a much more scientific process. It's a process based on many, many more elements of understanding within the fashion environment. So don't think for 1 minute that fashion buying is simply strolling down a street and picking out a couple of items that you really like. When we come to business, you'll see how important the numbers behind fashion buying also becomes. Retail management is another course or another subject within this course. And this is where you really need to start understanding how to trade, how we move our product from concept through to consumer. A vital element of the actual mechanics within the retail space. And within that retail space, we often have to consider store layout, because what is going to bring our customer in? So we often think about just the store windows, but once you're inside the store, there is going to be music, there'll be lighting, there are certain routes and pathways that are planned to draw you deeper and deeper into the store to ensure that you are exposed to as much of the merchandise as possible. And there are wonderful tools now that actually also assist us in ensuring that we work accurately with all of these elements within a store's layout that is going to enhance sales, that is going to really raise the bar for your particular brand. And then of course, styling and advising, because once you're within the store and you have beautiful product, it is very important to understand how to put those products together. And whether you are styling a celebrity for a major media event, or whether you are simply advising somebody in the corporate space, perhaps about corporate wardrobe, these are elements that all fit hand in hand within the merchandising space of how do we work with merchandise, how do we acquire it, how do we present it to our customer in an optimal way to ensure that we are able to move our product through into the customer's bag and out the door. The next course is the marketing course, of course. And remember, I spoke previously about business studies, and at Fedisa, you will find in all our programs a thorough and in-depth understanding of the business of fashion is absolutely vital, because having beautiful product or creating beautiful product is simply not enough. We must absolutely understand how do we monetize that product, right? And all those peripherals that sit around this planning space and this retail space, about hiring, about taxation. There are so many elements of being in business that you have to acquire and have a knowledge or a working knowledge and some understanding of before you can successfully move into the business environment. We also will speak here about consumer behavior. Now, remember, we spoke previously about social psychology. All of these elements are going to impact how consumers behave. What will they buy? When will they buy it? What value will they attach to any product? And once we understand the elements around consumer behavior, that puts us in a far better space to understand our customer and to understand what product to buy into our stores, to team with other products, to style up for our customer, so that we understand fully how we can drive consumer behavior into a positive retail outcome for our business. Then, of course, event planning is going to also form a part of marketing, because this is, you will know, event planning around fashion shows that you often see. I know a lot of the big European designers have recently been showing their new collections. And how do those events come together? It's not just a party invitation. Who sits where at such an event? Vitally important. There are a lot of internal industry politics that have to be considered when you are putting on events at that level. So it's a very, very thorough understanding that you need to develop in how you put events together in order to promote your merchandise. And all of this is in your third year going to be underpinned by your June-July work integrated learning phase, where you will be identifying an area of interest for yourself in industry, and you will find yourself an internship lasting 2 to 3 weeks during the mid-year break, where you will have the opportunity to go and investigate firsthand whether that which you believe to be true about your desired career is in fact so, or whether you would like to change tack. And the beauty of the work integrated learning, of course, is that when you return to campus in term 3, you will sit through several presentations of your peers who will have had other experiences, and you have the opportunity to vicariously learn about their experiences in industry and, of course, to present your own. Then the next course, obviously, is media, because we find ourselves now with so much happening online that we need to become very media savvy. So within this wonderful space of fashion, you will find that you need to be able to fully understand those promotional tools that you are going to need. And these are the media tools, and you use them every day. I know young people are constantly busy on their phones. You are constantly busy with your social media, and you don't even realize how many of these elements you are using daily. So within our media course, you are going to be actually doing smartphone photography and videography. And this all teaches you how to bring an optimal image together for you to promote your product within the fashion retail environment. That, of course, teamed with computer-aided design, puts you in a space where you're able to edit and enhance your imagery or your video. And all of this puts a magnificent tool in your hands, which you are able then to promote your business, promote your brand, promote your interests with. And all of this has an outflow into both the fashion PR space, where you are doing the public relations around fashion. And remember when I spoke about integrated courses and integrated learning, you can see here very quickly how fashion PR is going to link very seamlessly into event planning. And of course, once you have all of these tools at your disposal, plus your communications studies that you did in your one of your other modules, you are going to then also be the fashion journalist that we are looking for. So even though you are currently just writing those short little Instagram blurbs, the fashion journalism subject is going to assist you in understanding various modes of writing, various areas that you may be wanting to write for, and various communication tools. And that, in a nutshell, is what your 3 years on the diploma in fashion merchandising, marketing, and media would look like. Now, of course, you're wondering about career opportunities, and there I've put a couple of them on screen for you to have a look at. And when we look at buyer, I want you to take a very close look. We're talking here about a buyer/analytics, because remember we spoke about how you are not necessarily going to be creating garments, so you are not necessarily going to have the technical skills to do the buying from that perspective, but you will certainly have the analytical skills and the business skills to understand how you could potentially be buying product into a retail space. And take note that the last white strip there says, and so many more. And we always say this at Fedesa because our graduates move out into industry and then they move into spaces that we didn't even formally contemplate as being a potential career option. And so we always leave that open because the world and the industry and the fashion environment is in such constant evolution that you will be surprised how quickly new opportunities present themselves. Right. So that, I hope, gives you a very strong idea about what the Diploma in Fashion Merchandising, Marketing and Media is about. Again, to get into that diploma, you simply need to have a diploma pass in your matric year. If, however, you decide that you are a creative rather than a trader, and you want to be making and conceptualizing and bringing beautiful new product into the fashion space, then you might want to consider the 3-year BA degree in fashion. And again, as I've said previously, our programs at Fedisa generally consist of 4 courses, all again integrated. And as you see there, visual studies, clothing technology, business studies, and lifestyle studies. Now, remember, I spoke previously about how there may be some overlaps of subjects, and you will see that now. So visual studies, if you are going to be a creative, then the ability to draw, to put your ideas down on paper, those are quite important abilities. Do you need to have those abilities to come to Fedesa for this degree? No, you do not need to be Picasso. You also do not need to be Versace, because we will not expect you to already know how to sew, and we will not expect you to already know how to draw, because we are going to teach you all of that as part of this degree. So because you are the creative, we are going to obviously need you to understand concept development. Where do ideas come from? Often based in a lot of research, how to create those ideas, how to conceptualize those ideas, because this is how new product evolves and how product is born. That, of course, leads us into design. And here in design, you are going to learn how to storyboard, you will learn how to put color together, how to start understanding the figure as a 3-dimensional form. So again, a very good tool for you to be able to put your idea down on paper. Because if 10 people are all thinking about a blue dress, I can guarantee you not one of those 10 blue dresses will be exactly the same. But once we can put the idea down on paper, we all understand exactly what it is that we are speaking about. And of course, once you're able to design and you're moving into the commercial space, we need to start understanding range building, because remember, by your 3rd year, you will be creating your own full capsule collection. So it's very important to understand how a range is built. And when we talk about range building, we're talking about the various elements that will go together or come together in a styled model or a styled customer. And that ranges from the earrings and jewelry and accessories and sunglasses and trousers and coats and shoes and hairstyles. All of these things eventually will come together to create that wonderful look that everybody aspires to own and have in their wardrobe. And together with that, you will be doing a lot of illustration, because the ability to look at something and illustrate it is also the way in which you will find your personal signature style. So we want every Fedesa graduate to leave able to, in a very quick, fluid way, present their ideas as just illustrations before they even necessarily have to move them onto a storyboard with all of the peripheral information. So these are all wonderful tools and tremendous skills that is going to empower you as a graduate of this degree to be able to work very quickly and very effectively within the creative fashion space. The next course, of course, is clothing technology. Now, remember, we've said you are the creative. That means you must create. So that will also mean that you need to understand how to take your design right through the creative process and the technology and construction process into the final garment. So the subject that you can expect to be doing in this course range from technical drawing, and you'll see we have a technical drawing in the upper left-hand quadrant there. And the technical drawing is your actual analysis of your design. So the design was this beautiful picture, this idea. The technical drawing is the actual specifications analyzed from that beautiful picture of yours to give the people who will cut the patterns or who will design the patterns and make up the garments the exact information they will require to make up this garment in a beautiful way so that it fits on the body and that it represents that initial concept that you evolved and developed. So very important that we understand how to do the technical analysis of our creative designs. The next thing you're going to be able to do is to take your technical drawing through into your pattern construction stage. And this is that two-dimensional puzzle almost that will eventually fit around the body in a three-dimensional way. So being a strong pattern maker or pattern cutter is an incredibly important skill if you want to be operating within the creative fashion environment to bring new product to the fore. Of course, if you are able to understand your pattern drafting, your pattern construction, you will also need to understand textile. You must understand how textiles will behave, how they will fall. You know that some very soft sheer fabrics, those will not make a big standing up collar because they simply don't have that handle or that performance. So it's very important that you understand specifically how commercial textiles go into production, how they are used, where they are used, what they are appropriate for, how we care for them afterwards, so that the products that you design and that you create are made from the best possible materials to ensure their quality in the longer run. And then, of course, you need to understand garment construction. And students often say to me, must I sew? Now, you do not need to know how to sew when you come to Fedesa, because we are going to teach you how to sew right from day one. It will start with something as simple as threading a needle, so nobody needs to be afraid of this one. And we have incredible staff who are going to teach you step by step all the way. But you need to understand how to put your garments together. And we will start with very basic garments for you to construct until you are able to start moving into your own designs. Remember, I said you will be in your third year, you will be creating your own capsule collection. Very, very important. And this is a skill that you have to have, even though I can guarantee you that 90% of Fedesa's graduates will never sit behind a sewing machine once they've graduated. Now, why do I say that? I say that because although the skill is vitally important for you to have, it's going to put you in a position to be able to manage the production of garments in other people's hands. You will be the ones who will be able to problem solve. You will be the one who will be able to ensure that production can run smoothly. And it's a vital skill, especially remember I said, if you want to become a buyer, that you need to understand the technical quality of garments, because nobody would want to give you a 50 million Rand budget to go and buy for a big retail store knowing that you do not actually have the technical expertise to know what a quality garment is. And this is where you're going to learn it. During the garment construction subjects or the practicals, you are going to be able to exercise your skills and to develop those. And as I always say, being able to sew well is something that can never be taken away from you. And it's a lot like being a concert pianist. The more you practice, the better you get. So vital skills. The next course of the BA degree is, of course, lifestyle studies. And here again, you are going to see quite a number of duplicate subjects with the, duplicate subjects with some of the subjects that you would have encountered perhaps in the diploma. And again, fashion history, vitally important if we're going to be designing, that we understand where we've come from, what has happened before. The social psychology of our time, we speak about the zeitgeist, fully understanding what is happening around us culturally, economically, politically, very, very important elements to ensure that we are able to draw on the past as we move into forecasting future trends. And you will find that in this degree, you will be doing fashion history for the first 18 months of your 3-year course. And for the remainder of the course, history gives way to trend forecasting. And we have some wonderful tools that are available to all students within Fedisa, such as, for instance, the WGSN Trend Research Portal. It's a big international portal, and every one of the computers within Fedisa's campuses will give you access to the very latest trend information around the world. So that's vital, a vital tool for you all to have access to. Not so that you can copy those designs, but so that you can evolve your own interpretation and improve design. And then, of course, here in Lifestyle Studies Communication, again, vitally, vitally important. You must be empowered to be able to communicate your personal ideas, your thoughts about your product, about your brand, about your design. Vitally important to be able to do that, because if you don't do that, you will very quickly find that somebody else will be doing it on your behalf, and most likely not be doing it any justice as well as you would have been able to do it yourself. And then, as I've said to you formally, within Fedesa, the understanding of business is absolutely vital. It is vitally important that you understand current affairs. Remember, we've just spoken about the zeitgeist of our time. Where do we find this information? We find this information all around us. And I'm constantly admonishing students who do not read. You have to read more than just Instagram. It is vital that you understand what is happening around you. So current affairs, a very, very big element of being in the fashion environment. You are going to be able to do your brand building based on a lot of what is happening in the world around you, and your understanding of the principles that underpin strong and solid business foundations is another vital element of the business studies course. And again, as a BA fashion student, you should expect to be doing a 2 to 3 week work integrated learning or internship during your June, July holidays of your 3rd year. So it's fine, you can have that June, July holiday in years 1 and 2, but by 3rd year, we need to start getting very serious about your entry into the fashion industry. And this is a wonderful stepping stone preparing you for that. And I will tell you on the upside that many, many Fedesa final year students will come back from their work integrated learning internships with job offers in place, because it's also the opportunity for you to make an impact and an impression on real business spaces out in industry. So you must never take this one lightly. It's vitally important. And again, when students come back from their work integrated learning, they are all doing presentations to their peers and to the lecturers. It forms part of your 3rd year of studies, vitally important. And you get the opportunity to vicariously also understand what other students have gone through in their work integrated learning phases. So that essentially, I think, brings us to what are the potential careers. So there are innumerate careers here. We can't even tell you how many opportunities are available. And I want to just point out the very first line there, which is buyer/designer. So if you have a very strong technical expertise, that makes your ability to buy quality garments into any retail store or brand so much stronger. So yes, you can become a buyer with an analytical buyer with your diploma, but if you want to be a buyer who understands design, then this really is the program that will be more appropriate for yourself. Keep in mind, you do need a degree pass in your matric year to be eligible to study on the bachelor's degree at FEDISA, because we have very similar entry requirements to any of the major universities out there. And then you'll just have me point out that again, and so many more careers are also available to you with this degree, because again, everything is in flux, everything is dynamic, and there are new opportunities arriving on our doorsteps daily that we are absolutely convinced this degree will be preparing you for as well. I'm now going to hand over to my esteemed colleague in Sandton, Ms. Margaret Allwatch, and Margaret will take you through what the BA Honours degree is all about.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. Leroux. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the Honours program is all about. I'm going to start off by trying to motivate you as to why, after 3 long years, you should decide to do another year of studies. And this is really the opportunity for you as a industry expert to start to develop an objective view of the fashion industry, an industry that affects every single consumer. And the Honours program is a place where you will have the opportunity to develop your problem thinking skills. You'll be able to develop your critical thinking skills, and it will put you in a position to one day be there as the managers, as the leaders, in order to aid people in the industry because of all the knowledge that you would have obtained from the Honours program, as well as the skills that we will hope to develop while you are part of our institution. With the Honours program, you do not need to have a fashion background. We've had students that studied graphic design. They've had no interaction with the fashion industry. As long as that you have a BA degree, you are more than welcome to join our program. So I'm going to start off by going through what we do in the beginning, which is the research methodology workshop. This is where we introduce you to what research is all about, how to collect data versus quantitative versus qualitative. We give you a comprehensive understanding of the technicalities that go into developing research. We then move on to the coursework, and this is really where the exciting part comes in. You cover several topics, modules, ranging from your fashion trends and design. We go into manufacturing and distribution, and then we go into retail and marketing. How the Honours program is set up is that we aren't going to be teaching you about the industry, but rather providing you with curated information, curated articles that you will then go off and read on your own time. And then twice a week, we join together and we have discussions about the work that was covered. What is so great about these discussion classes is that it gives students the opportunity to articulate how they have viewed what they have read, and they get to share how they've interpreted the information, and then they get to see how other people have formulated their opinions and their arguments. And what's nice is that then this creates the space for you to develop that objective approach to the industry. And then once we're done with the coursework, you'll then go into your work integrated learning. This is where now you're going to get a practical experience in the industry, where now you've taken all your knowledge that we have discussed, the theoretical knowledge about the industry, and now you're going to go and do an internship where it will most likely, or rather we encourage, it goes in line with what you are going to be looking at for your research proposal. So for example, we had a student looking at whether synthetic leather versus genuine leather, which would be more sustainable. He then went on to go work with a designer that produced leather goods. So he was then able to take the knowledge that he obtained working with the designer and how the goods were produced, and he was able to apply that to his final dissertation. So after your work integrated learning, this is now in your second semester, the modules fall away and it will just be you and your supervisor producing your mini dissertation. And this is where everything comes together, your comprehensive understanding of what research is, how to go about it, the knowledge that you obtain from the coursework, as well as the knowledge that you gain from the work integrated learning. And we're going to put it all together in a wonderful research paper that will be your final project. We've had some very interesting projects over the years. We had one student look at the external factors that influence local designers in terms of where they get their clothing produced, whether they get it produced locally or internationally. Why the study was so interesting is because when it comes to manufacturing, South Africa tends to be lacking in terms of production and getting the work produced here. So it's such an important research for us in our industry to see what is stopping designers from producing their work here and how can we perhaps find ways to develop it. And that's really where research becomes so profound and so important, because everything starts with research. So a study like that is so crucial for our industry. And then we also had a student who brought in her passion about graphic design, and she looked at our online apps, fashion online apps, are they user-friendly and accessible to consumers that are visually impaired? And this is an example of a student that took her passion, took her non-fashion related expertise, and was able to produce a comprehensive, well-written research paper that is fitted for the fashion industry. So yes, that is the honors program. It's very exciting. It's really for the people that want to make a difference in academia, and I would encourage all of you to one day do an honors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maggs. Ms. Maggs is very, very passionate about research. She is herself currently busy with her PhD or doctorate at the University of Pretoria. Right, let's move on. So when you are studying at Fedisa, you should also expect to be participating in many, many events. And these events will range from trade shows. We've just recently had the K-Way trade show at Fedisa, which is currently still on exhibition. We will have exhibitions. There are always, as I mentioned before, exhibitions of student work on display. So if you visit a Fedisa campus at any time, you will be able to see wonderful examples of student-generated work that speak to all the various components of their studies at Fedisa. We do a lot of industry collaborations. You will note that I've already said that Fedisa works incredibly closely with industry. So we do a number of industry collaborations, whether they are graphic design for Truworths, whether it's menswear for Markham, whether it's kidswear for Kido. And interestingly enough, we currently also have an international collaboration between Fedisa, Kido, and the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles in the USA. Earlier this year, we did Markham as a collaboration with the students from Mood Art in Verona, Italy. So students who are studying at Fedisa also have the opportunity to be working in an integrated and collaborative way with students around the world. So that's just some of the wonderful opportunities that students at Fedesa have to actually start interacting already with industry as a student and putting your work out and having industry and the public very, very often being able to engage with that work that is being produced in-house by our own students. The students also, during the course of a normal year, and when I refer to a normal year, I'm speaking pre-COVID, will engage in one of the Fedisa registered trademarks, which is the Fedisa Fashion Flash. And a Fashion Flash is a very quick 20-minute fashion show, very, very popular with the public and industry alike. They love to stop by Fedisa for a Fashion Flash. And at a fashion flash, you can expect to see the results of just a single assignment. So for instance, we will see only corseted evening gowns produced by second-year students at a fashion flash, obviously on a wonderful theme, or we might see only menswear produced for Markham, or we might see only eclectic denim wear. So a fashion flash is quite different from a graduate collection show where we will be seeing a very broad range of student work. And then of course, last year, because we couldn't have on-campus events, on the right-hand side, you will see here, there is a photograph from our Elsa versus Coco. And this was already viewed 3,255 times. And I'll tell you, we made this slide up probably about 2 or 3 months ago. And this was the online flash that Fedisa hosted, which was a live evening, all socially distanced behind the scenes, and it was completely virtual. And if you go to our Fedisa Instagram now, I'm sure you'll find this virtual flash available on our Instagram TV channel. So do go and check that out. Then, of course, we don't leave our diploma students behind, because our diploma students each year produce the most wonderful newspaper. We have this in hard copy as well as an online version. And you will notice that every photograph and every article within the Fedesa Red Press, which is what we call it, is actually photographed or written by a Fedesa student that is studying on the Diploma in Fashion Merchandising, Marketing and Media. So the Red Press becomes a wonderful showcase for the journalism, for the photography, for a number of those elements that we spoke about earlier when I was going through the diploma program. And then of course the BA degrees fashion students, they will generally at the end of each year have a wonderful runway show attended by the cream of industry. And we generally have between 600 and 800 people that attend the graduate collection show. And we're very lucky we can actually host that on campus, which makes the logistics around it so much easier. And of course, last year, again, we couldn't host that wonderful event. So of course, in our normal, undaunted Fedesa spirit, we created the graduate collection editorial show. And you can find this on the Fedesa YouTube channel as well, as some highlights on our Instagram. So do go and check that out. And this was an opportunity for us to actually film in a studio on a set of wonderful models, all the top collections from the 2020 Fedesa BA graduates. And at the current pace of things evolving in the country, it is most likely that we will do another fantastic editorial show like this one for the 2021 BA Fashion graduates again. And once you have successfully completed all these years of study and all these assignments and all the hard work, those of you that have successfully applied yourselves can expect to find yourself at graduation. And the Fedesa graduation ceremony is beautifully put together. It's a wonderful traditional ceremony in the same vein as most of the big universities. And there you can see a selection of photographs of our past graduates. And they all, once you have moved across that graduation stage, the world is your oyster, and you can move off into an incredibly exciting fashion career within either the South African or the international global fashion industry. So I spoke previously about how fully industry integrated Fedesa is, and you've seen how we have labs that are sponsored by various of the big fashion businesses in South Africa. You've also seen all these collaborations that we do. And here on the screen now, I have just a few of the logos and trademarks of some of our industry partners. And again, this is one of those amazing advantages that a student studying at Fedesa is going to have. You are not going to be wondering what your future looks like, because you're going to be working with many of the companies that will strongly impact your future post-graduation. So keep that in mind. It's one of those unique selling points of being a graduate from Fedesa, is that by the time you enter industry, industry will already know more or less who you are just because of your association with this institution. Now, of course, this is the question that everybody always asks me: how am I going to pay for this private school education? Because keep in mind that Fedisa is a private institution, therefore we are not subsidized by the government. We don't get those hundreds of millions of rands handouts every year, and we have to self-fund. So there are a number of opportunities because Fedisa obviously is a registered and accredited private higher education institution. You will have no trouble obtaining a student loan for Fedisa. And if you look at the logo, just above the white line, there's a logo called Student Euro. If you don't want to go around applying for your own student loan, click on the Student Euro link within the Fedisa website, and Student Euro will do it all for you, pain-free, hassle-free, and free of charge. So they make finding your student loan at the best possible price point for you very, very quick and easy. There are a number of bursaries available. Do keep in mind that bursaries will generally be awarded for excellent performance, and that it is not just a given that every student applying for a bursary would receive one. However, if you go to the Fedisa website, as I'm sure you are all already doing or quickly going to do after this presentation, you will find that the Creative Leaders Trust has made the Future Vision bursary for 2022 available to students this year. So if you are thinking of studying at Fedisa next year and you've applied and been accepted, do visit the Future Vision bursary page on the website. You'll see the time is quite short because it closes on the 15th of August. And get your entry for this in. This bursary is worth 50,000 Rand, and there is one for the Sandton campus and there is one for the Cape Town campus. And this bursary is not specific to either the diploma or the BA. Students from both of those qualifications can enter this bursary, and there will be a winner, as I've said, for each campus. So do go and take a look at that. As I've pointed out, Fedisa is a fully registered and accredited institution of private higher education in South Africa. There on the screen now, you can see all of our credentials. You will also note that our qualifications, the diploma, is an NQF level 6 accredited diploma by the Council on Higher Education. The Bachelor of Arts in Fashion is an NQF level 7 program, and the Bachelor of Arts Honours Fashion degree is a postgraduate NQF level 8 program. You can also find all the SAQA ID information that you need for our various qualifications if you'd like to go and check up, and you are more than welcome to do that. All this information is also available on the Fedisa website. And now we've made it even easier for you to be able to apply for your studies at Fedisa. If you visit the Fedisa website, either on any of your mobile devices or your desktop, you will find the opportunity for you to apply online directly without having to worry about filling in a lot of papers and toing and froing too much. So simply go click the Apply Online tab on our Fedisa website, and it will give you the opportunity to fill in your application right there. You upload your supporting documents directly onto that application, and you submit it, and it will pop up right in Fedisa's Student Administration Center. And from there, we will further assist you with any questions that you may still have, but that essentially is now the easiest possible way to become part of this incredible fashion institution. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen because I think you've all had more than enough information. And if there are any questions, I am more than happy to answer what I can.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leroux. We do have a few questions in the chat box. The first question that I have is, can the diploma or the degree be done part-time?
No, unfortunately not. Those are both full-time qualifications. It is, however, possible to have a part-time job because of the structure of both those full-time qualifications. So even though the workload is quite heavy, Many of our students do in fact hold part-time jobs, obviously to either support their student lifestyle or their studies.
All right, thank you very much. So the next question that I have is, how is the degree that you offer better than the other degrees at other institutions, for example?
I'm assuming that you are talking about fashion degrees. And what I always say to anybody who asks me that question, because I do get it frequently, I always say, visit a Fedisa campus, see what is available to you, and then please do also visit all the other potential campuses, because we do know that Fedisa is not going to be the right fit for everyone. Fedisa is a very serious institution. And as you can see, when you look at the level of industry involvement with Fedisa, I think that in itself speaks for the quality education that industry says you will receive from this institution. But again, horses for courses. Don't just believe what I say. Visit a Fedisa campus, talk to some of our graduates, talk to some of our students, and then also by all means, please visit some of the competing schools and see, because they may quite honestly be a better fit for you. Right.
Right. And then another question that I have here, does the diploma program involve technical drawings and textiles and patterns and construction and garment construction?
No. If you noticed, the diploma program does not create any product. The diploma program purely is focused on retailing product. The creative elements there will be that you will from time to time perhaps build a concept store model, which is a lot of fun when you create your own little shop and your shop fronts and windows and artifacts and elements, but you will not be learning how to make garments in the diploma program.
All right, thank you. And another question that I have here is, will this recording be available to the public after the session?
That's a very good question. Nobody has ever asked us for the recording, but I'm sure that if you mail us at info@fedisa.co.za, that we will be very happy to share it with you.
Perfect, thank you very much. And then what are all your sponsors and collaboration companies that you work with Fedisa nationally and internationally?
Well, I think you just need to go back to that slide that I put up. I can't tell you all of them offhand, but I put up a slide that had a whole slew of them. And you will also find that if you go to our website, that you will find most of those companies represented there, as well as there's a lovely section of quotes from people that work within those companies about their experiences of working with Fedisa.
Another question that's very similar to the previous one, just what makes your programs different or, or better than the other, other institutions. Another one is what makes Fedisa better than other fashion schools. So we've basically covered that. Does Fedisa provide student accommodation?
No, Fedisa itself directly does not provide student accommodation. But again, if you go to our website, you're going to find both for Sandton and for Cape Town that there will be a whole list of what we call approved accommodation partners that you are able to find refuge while you are studying.
Perfect. And what would the qualifications for the Cambridge syllabus be?
Again, if you look at the application pack for the various programs on our website, you will find exactly what is required for entry into each of the qualifications at Fedisa.
Okay. Is there any discounts for cash payments?
I do believe there is. Again, if you download the application pack for the qualification that you're interested in, you will find the application pack also contains the full fees breakdown for the year. And I do believe that if you pay in full by the 28th of February, that you will in fact be able to have a cash discount.
Right. And then what are the fees cost yearly and monthly?
All right, now again, that's the one where you go to the website, you download the application pack, and you will find all of that right there for you to peruse over.
Do we have any partnerships with any international institutions?
Yes, I spoke of that. We have already got 2 established for this year. One is with the Mood Art Fashion School in Verona, Italy. The other is with FIDM, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles in the United States. And we also this year collaborated with DDI, the vertical denim manufacturers in Mauritius. So Fedesa has got quite a few international links that we work with on often joint assignments.
Perfect. Another question here is the honors degree full-time or part-time?
Again, it's what we consider a full-time program, but do keep in mind that it is currently fully online, and the honors engagement is only on Mondays from 2 until 4, and on Thursdays from 2 until 4, and on certain Tuesdays, students will have specific speakers or visits that they need to participate in. But for the rest, the honors program, as we've said, it's a pure research program. But if you want to discuss that further, you're also more than welcome to set up a consultation with one of the postgraduate lecturers who will be able to assist you further there.
Perfect, thank you. Actually got a very nice question for you, Ms. Agri, that you always talk about. Is the diploma internationally accredited?
It's the concept of international accreditation is always one that is very interesting to me. So if you look at any of our qualifications in South Africa that are registered and accredited, you will also find that they need to be registered on the South African Qualifications Authority, which is known as SAQA for short. Now, you are able to achieve or attain accreditation by, for instance, the British Education Council. We have never found that that was a requirement or an impediment to any Fedesa graduate. And as I pointed out, we have graduates working all over the world, from Australia to Canada and everywhere in between. So when we talk about internationally recognized, the moment a qualification has been registered on SAQA and its international comparability has been proven, which is part of the requirement for registration and accreditation, such a program is recognized anywhere in the world.
Thank you. Another question here is, what would you need to provide when you are applying for the BA degree?
You can apply with your grade 11 results if you haven't yet received mid-year grade 12. And I know many schools have not written the mid-year exams in grade 12 this year. So generally you will need your grade 11 results. And that essentially is what is going to qualify you as an applicant. We will then also give you an entrance assessment, and based on your final matric results. So you will then be accepted on the basis of your grade 11 results. You'll be provisionally accepted. And once you have successfully completed your matric at the appropriate level, you are then accepted for studies into the institution at whichever the degree is that you've applied for.
And then just another question that actually relates to that, are there any specific subjects that are needed in order for you to actually do either one of the programs at Fedesa?
No, and that is the very interesting and often surprising thing that people don't realize. While we say that mathematics, yes, mathematics, you must have a rudimentary understanding of counting, because remember, we'll be measuring stuff, right? So if you have mathematics, or you have art, or you have design, or you have some consumer science, those are subjects that could be of assistance to you. However, they are not prescribed. You do not have to have any specific subjects, as long as all the subjects that you have passed will equate to either a diploma or a bachelor's pass in matric. Because remember what I said in the presentation, we are going to teach you everything. We don't expect you to arrive able to draw. We don't expect you to arrive able to sew, right? So we are going to teach you from the basics up to the more advanced level, exit level competencies you will require. So there is absolutely no need to be afraid to apply to study at Fedesa, because you know what I always say, If you don't ask, the answer is 100% no. If you do apply, the answer is immediately a 50% yes.
Okay, thank you. So there's a few more questions that are all basically very similar, and it's just basically asking, is there an opportunity for, you know, an exchange program with, you know, other schools, you know, and it can be done for the undergrads and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes, as I've already pointed out, you know that we have the Memorandum of Understanding with FIDIM. I'll just use that one as an example. And if we were not in the middle of a global pandemic, we would certainly be able to do in-person exchanges. That's definitely part of that MOU. At the moment, we are not able to do that, but we do believe that anybody who is applying to FEDISA next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will not be sitting in this pandemic forever, and we will eventually be able to do those in-person exchanges again. Yes, that is certainly a possibility.
Okay, thank you. And then just two more questions that I have here is that if you have already completed your matric, do you still need to apply with your grade 11 marks?
No, no, no. If you already have your matric results, then you are obviously, you always apply with your latest results, then you absolutely must use those matric results and your matric certificate. That is what you apply with. When I refer to applying with your grade 11 marks, that is merely with reference to anybody who is currently busy with their grade 12 study year and will not yet have a matric certificate.
All right, thank you. And then the last question I have here is that the matric students of 2020 have not received their original matric certificates yet. So are we able to still apply with, you know, just the printout at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. You are able to do that.
Perfect. All right, those are all the questions that I have from the chat box.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leroux.
Super. Everybody, thank you so much for spending this. I think it's pretty much an hour with us. I hope that you've learned something about FEDISA. You are more than welcome to visit a FEDISA campus by appointment. Simply mail info@fedisa.co.za or send us your question in the FEDISA chat box on our website or even on our Instagram. And I even often respond to questions that come in on Facebook, although I'm not sure that anybody still uses it. But we are more than welcoming of you to visit a FEDISA campus. We are obviously currently just not hosting full open days because we don't want 500 people arriving. But we are very, very keen to show you around and to help you start your fashion career. Because remember, at FEDISA, your fashion career doesn't start when you graduate. It starts when you start at FEDISA. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for participating this evening. Go and give it a thorough think, because remember, these are very important decisions for your future, and we want to help you make the right ones. And if FEDISA is the right for you, then we look forward to hearing from you. Everybody, wash your hands, sneeze in your elbow, keep your social distance, wear your mask, and stay safe. I want to see as many of you around in the future as possible. Good night from Cape Town, where it's a little bit rainy. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Bella Kratz. I'm 22 years old, and I'm studying a BA degree in fashion at Fedesa. I mean, I've always loved fashion since I was a little girl. I loved art, particularly photography, because that's what I majored in. So I became obsessed with fashion photography and magazines like Vogue and Elle. And then I Googled like fashion design in South Africa. I was probably like 13 years old, and Fedesa came up, so from a young age I knew about Fedesa. When it was a really serious decision that I was making, I came to the campus once and I fell in love, so I would love to be that person who like knows everything there is to know about layout and magazines and fashion and trends, and so that was always just something I wanted to do, and Fedesa gave me that. It was the best decision I ever made.